This is Aaron from PowerPopaholic.com, and today I'm interviewing Thomas Walsh, formerly with Pugwash. He has a new solo album that came out last year. It's brilliant. It's called...
The Rest is History.
The Rest is History. How are you doing today, Thomas?
I'm fine, mate. It's great to speak to you finally in the flesh. In the lot of flesh.
In the flesh, actually, yes. One of the questions I wanted to start out with was with Pugwash.
Yeah.
You decided to release this album under your own name.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why you decided not to use the Pugwash label?
Well, a good few friends and people, close compatriots would say, you should use your real name because, Pugwash is a silly name anyway. So, I kind of agree with that. But in fairness, Silver Lake, which was out in 2017, the album I did with Jason Faulkner, that should have been a Thomas Walsh album as well. Because it was just me and Jason and a few the string players and stuff. But I should have, because the band meant so much to me, really. The last incarnation of the band. Because it wasn't the band for the entire length of my career, but they were a special band, they were friends. So when it ended with that, I should have just said, that's been a good run with that and just gone to my own name or whatever. So I think I held on a little bit because people were saying, do you want to know who you are? But you don't know who I am. Pugwash anyway. Excuse me. And so I just thought Thomas Walsh. It felt right,
My next question is the Duckworth Lewis method.
Yeah.
You doing this with Neil Hannon, right?
Yep.
You've had 2 albums. Is a third one on the way?
A third one is not on the way, but it's a third one. I never thought I'd say this, but there could be a chance. There could be a chance that we may attempt to go back to the crease, which is a cricketer,
right?
And try out. We don't know yet. It's a bit. It's very. It's on tender hooks at the moment, but. You never know, and we never said, you never know before. It was always no.
Right.
So even getting it to you never know, is a good sign. So let's remain 51% positive.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll go with 51% positive. One of the other questions I have is you've dealt with different members of XTC.
Yes.
Andy Partridge you've worked with, as well as Dave Gregory, correct?
Yeah.
Have you worked with any other members of XTC?
Colin as well.
Colin as
because I played Mellotron on Say It, which was the last kind of XTC official single, really. It's in the Apple box. And Andy did his Spiral track called Spiral. Mm-hmm. And Colin did Say It, and I very proudly did some Mellotron on that. So I've worked with the 3 of them, which I'm very, very chuffed with. That's dream come true stuff. But are you saying what you asked? Was there any others?
You've worked with all of the
members,
and have they contributed at all to your album?
Oh yeah. Well, the only one who hasn't is Colin. But Dave is on numerous Pugwash albums, playing guitar, playing keyboards, playing mellotron, and arranging the strings. And Andy, I've written probably about 8 or 10 songs with Andy.
Excellent.
And a good 4 or 5 came out. And on At the Sea and My Genius, which are 2 tracks from the 11 Modern Antiquities album. And Anchor, which is on Jollity. And Here We Go Round Again, which is on Olympus Sound. So, and I got Andy on a track with Ray Davies.
Oh, very nice.
On my Play This Intimately album, because we recorded it in Conch. And Ray loved what he was hearing when he was going by the studio most of the days. And he came in and he sang on one of my tracks, which is a real,
excellent
pinch me moment. But I got in touch with Andy because we needed another vocal on that track, and I slotted Andy in. So Andy's on a track with Ray, courtesy of me. So beautiful. I'm very chuffed, yeah.
Beautiful. Speaking of starstruck celebrities, I know you've been a longtime fan of Jeff Lynn.
Yeah.
You got to meet him
yeah.
at one point, which
at
was
3 points. 4 points.
4 points, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Did he give you any production tips? Did you ever talk shop with him?
I always talk shop. But he No, he's not a tip person.
Okay.
The one thing he did say to me years ago was, he said, I really like that cricket album. He says, but I don't think it featured you enough. And I told Neil, just to annoy Neil, say, oh, Jeff thought I should have been on the album a bit more. But I kind of understood. He's a fan of my sound, which is a real honour, because I just kind of nicked his sound, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's influence. I don't nick anything. But I just kind of thought, I know what he means. Because the first Duckworth album is very Pugwash sounding. A lot more than, say, Divine Comedy sounding, which is Neil's band.
Right.
The second one, it's a lot more, it's 50-50 really, sound-wise. It's a bit more of each of us. But the first one had the same engineers that did all my Pugwash stuff and same kind of studios and players. So there was more of a Pugwash on the first record. So, but Jeff just wants to chill out, have a cup of tea with powdered milk. Mm-hmm. It's an old British thing, which I love, because I used to have it as well. Working class Dublin man that I am, I used to have powdered milk. You put it in the cup.
Right.
And so he just wants to hang out, talk Beatles, talk everything but ELO probably. But I always force him into it. But he's just a lovely, funny, wonderful guy.
Wonderful.
I'm very
Great.
proud of.
Another question I have is, how did you end up meeting Joe Elliott from Def Leppard? It seems like a polar opposite to Pugwash.
Yes, and that's what I would have thought of myself. But in 2010, I ended up in hospital because I was drinking a lot and doing a lot of naughty stuff for a long time. And my life was kind of going, I had a bit of success with Duckworth Lewis. And I signed a Sony publishing deal, which I'd never had. And so I had a bit of money. And, I put it down my mouth and up my nose and everything else, stupidly. It's a very embarrassing and not a great memory. But when I went to hospital for about 3 weeks, bad, I came out and I said, well, that's the end of that. I don't want to do that anymore. So I gave up everything, which I'm very proud to have done. But at the same time, a friend of mine gave me an offer of a radio show with a new, very big station in Dublin, Radio Nova, which is a very big station, the biggest station in Ireland at the moment. And I was in it at the very start, but I had this rock report show. And of course, they'd want me to play Billy Idol and Guns N' Roses and all that, but I said, nah, I'd rather play a bit of Badfinger or a bit of ELO and XTC. So they used to get annoyed, but I'd balance it just about. So all of a sudden then an email comes in from Joe Elliott saying he loves the show, and Sinead O'Connor was a big fan of the show as well, dear Sinead. And she emailed in a lot of times. I spoke to her a lot of times actually, but they wouldn't let her get on the show because she was volatile,
right?
Allegedly, idiots. But Joe then came in for an interview. And he came in, and this is the weirdest thing. He says, "It's great to meet you, Tommy. And check this out. You're a big ELO fan." I said, "Yeah, big ELO fan." He says, "Check out this cover of Mr. Blue Sky." And it was the Duckworth Lewis Methods covering Mr. Blue Sky.
Wow.
Me, Neil, and Tosh on this TV show in Ireland. And he just didn't make the connection that I was Duckworth. And he went, "Oh my God, you're him." And I went, "Yeah." And we just got on straight away from that moment and kept in touch. He heard all the Pugwash stuff, loved it, and he plays it all the time on his radio show, which is classic rock radio, I think.
Yeah,
stuff.
no, that's great.
And he plays Pugwash all the time, so he's always been there. So I kept in touch with Joe. He's one of the most amazing people to meet as a rock star. He's a lovely, lovely, beautiful man. Shocked. Because, my sister loved Def Leppard. And I was like, oh God, knock that off, in the 80s.
Yeah.
But he's just brilliant. He's a big Motta Hoople fan.
Right.
Huge Roy Wood fan, ELO,
Great.
Classic rock, Lizzie, all the stuff. So on this album, then I just asked him to do a few vocal bits and a few oohs, and he said yes.
Very nice.
That's how nice he is, because he was playing somewhere in Manila or something, in front of 70,000 people. And he came off stage and just did this vocals when he sent me a little file, 16 different files. And so, on the track All This Hurt it's Joe singing "All This Hurts" and doing all the oohs. So yeah, he's a lovely man.
Excellent. So let me get to one serious question. What got you out of addiction and alcoholism and all that?
Oh well, honestly, the doctor said you'll be dead if you don't stop. Someone tells you that and you're only just turned 40, you know, you're going to listen. And to be honest with you, I never liked it. I loved the buzz, but I knew, because I never smoked or drank till I was about 27. Very late starter. And I never smoked cigarettes in my life, but you know, I'd be smoking joints and stuff.
Right.
And then of course cocaine came into it, and you know, and especially in Ireland in the 90s and 2000s, it was everywhere. And I hate to say it, but yeah, I started taking that a lot. And it's embarrassing because it's a horrible drug. And, you know, so it's not something to be proud of in any way. It's just crap. So I knew I was going down a bad road, but I was finishing with somebody I was with for a long time. So the classic man thing.
Right.
Let's just get wasted. But of course, my body and my makeup couldn't take that kind of hammering.
Right.
So after about 18 months of it, I was just there one night and I'd taken too much of everything. And my heart rate was 200 plus.
Wow.
For about a day. Even when I was in the hospital getting stuff thrown into me, it wouldn't come down.
Wow.
So I had to get this amazing doctor to stand over my bed the whole time I was there. Amazing, man. So I don't remember the next 3 weeks of that time, but I came out and I went, okay, start again.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Thank
you know,
so
it's
much.
better off being around, being here and friends and lovely people, and, you know, and just been able to still play. And
we're glad that you can play.
well,
And
thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Another question, one of my final questions would be, since we already have The Rest is History, which came out last year, tell me about what's coming next. Are you working on new tracks for a new album?
Well, I've done a bit of writing with Andy, which I haven't done, Andy Partridge, which I hadn't done in a long time. And a few really nice ideas came out. It was just before Christmas, so, you know, when New Year came, I had to, I was trying to sell a few guitars because money's been bad. But I had a lovely response from the fans and a few friends who helped me out. And then I immediately just said, I want to go back to America and the East Coast, where they love having me.
Yeah, we love having you.
And we
here.
turned it around, myself and Katya and Ed, in 6 weeks. We turned around this little trip, which is 6 shows in 9 days. So this has taken a Bobby time. But now I have a Dublin show when I go back in April. I'll have a London show and start in May. And I think, going back to your other question, I might be hooking up with Neil to do a bit of writing. And you don't know what it might turn into. But that's the next thing for me, is to do a bit of writing with Neil.
That's great. Thank you so much, Thomas. It was an honor.
It's absolute
Honor to talk with you.
It's a total pleasure. I mean, you're a bit of a legend, you know. Of course, I'm surrounded by legends here with Dave and stuff.
Absolutely.
But, you know, it's great to finally meet you. And, you know, you've been a brilliant advocate of great music
Thank you.
that a lot of people don't know about. I'm not talking about myself there, but, you know, there's a lot of other bands make some great music, and you've been there from the very start. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Thomas Walsh. Thank you, everyone, for listening.